In the sound booth, our whole world revolves around blinking lights now. We didn't have blinking lights before. So in the sound booth now, if the mic is on, if the mic is picking up, one, we got a thing over there that will flash. Okay, the mic's on. Well, now we got a green light in front of the little slide. The green light wasn't blinking. So this is telling me the mic is not working. Even though I hear the mic, in my mind, the mic is not working. And this is bad. All right. I thought somebody else was going to preach tonight, by the way. Patrick came up and said there was going to be a good preacher here tonight. And I was like, I studied for nothing. Well, Brother Denny, not Brother Denny, Brother Danny, I'm sorry. He got me thinking about something today. I'm going to pull out my pocket watch. That means nothing. It's easier to see. I'm going to take this jacket off. Yeah, that's it. This is what I have learned in the homiletics class. He has taught me quantum physics. Time is irrelevant. I mean, this is what you learn in homiletics. This is what you learn preaching. Time creeps up back there sitting in a pew for y'all. It flies up here. Get my watch. Well, Brother Danny was talking this morning, and he was talking about how the church would be if everybody was like us. Well, for a while, I've been sitting here and I've been studying in Daniel chapter 3. That's where we'll be. We'll be about verse 14. It's kind of got me thinking about how our lives are. Now, does anybody think that these people in the Bible times actually believed their life was going to be recorded for thousands of years for people to read about what they did? Anybody think that? No, I don't think they did. I don't think Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego sit there and thought, okay, we better look good here, y'all. People they're gonna be reading about us for centuries. No. Our life is a book. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. What we do with our lives, other people read. People who know us, people see us walking down the road. You always hear the preacher talking about how high you jump on Sunday. He wants to know where you land on Monday. Our life is a book. And in our life, I hate to say it, I know a lot of people's like, oh, they'll preach to you. If you become a Christian, you'll have an easy life. Everything will be great. They'll do that smiling thing. Okay, that's not true. They prosecuted our master. The servant is no better than the master. Okay, we're going to have hard times. I brought something with me. I think Dad knows what's in the box. Actually, this is what happens when you do children's church a lot. You start bringing props. This happens. I'm going to use these props as we go through Daniel. I'm not going to make a balloon animal. This is the wrong balloon. Apologize if that's going through the speakers. When teaching kids, if I do not know the kid's name, I assign the kid a name. Most of the time it is Bob. Throughout the service, we have a series of Bobs. This is a Bob. All right. So we're in Daniel chapter 3. A brief catching up here. Israel has fallen into captivity. Babylonians they got them. The southern kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar is the king. I think this is around 605 AD. I'm looking at you because I believe this is 605 AD. Nebuchadnezzar is the king, and he builds this statue. Okay? And he wants every time music, any kind of music to play, he wants the people to bow down and to worship. And I tell you what, he has an altar call like nobody's ever had before. He's going to motivate the people to come to the altar and bow. He's going to motivate them to worship his God and to worship his image. He gives them an option. Simple. Bow down and worship when you hear the music, or we're going to throw you in the furnace. Simple. Now, we got 3 Hebrew boys who are told We got to bow down and worship when we hear this music, or we're going to burn. There's 3 of them. They don't do it. They're going to opt for getting thrown in the fire. This is the option they're going for. And this is where we're going to pick up verse 14. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. He's asking them. Because, you've got to think, he thinks they're crazy. He's, Patrick, are you really not going to do this? You know what's going to happen to you. We're going to throw you in the fire. Seriously, this is a problem? You got to think this king, he doesn't understand it. Why would they do this? They captured these people. What's different from their God than any other God in the land? Everybody's got their gods. He's got to be confused. So he's confronting them. Now, he gives them an option. Now, if you be ready, that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and the clamor, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I made well. But if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is the God that shall deliver you out of my hand? They're getting one more time. Now just imagine if this was you. We all face problems. We all have got this issue of compromise. We live in a time and an era where compromise is huge. Just back off a little. Don't stand so strong on your faith. Just, worship God during services. But when you come out here, we don't want to hear this. We don't want to hear, God said that's wrong. So he tells them, he says, worship well. What would you do? If you were in their shoes, what would you do? You stand there, and I worship God, and if I bow down and I worship this false god, within the hour, I'm going to die. It's not going to be a quick death. They're not going to put me to sleep, and I'm not going to feel a thing. They're going to toss me, kicking and screaming, into a fire. How long a person would live in this, I don't know, but I imagine however long you're alive in the fire is terrible. But these men, they don't know they're going to be written about for centuries. 3 friends. They're choosing to do what most people wouldn't. Matter of fact, they're the only people brought before the king. The music has sound. And 3 men, that's it, stand before the king. Man, the faith it would take. What do you think was going through their mind? You know they're Hebrews. You know they know the law. They know that they're not supposed to bow down and worship any engraven image or worship any other god but God. I like their response. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. Now, we got excuses. They're a dime a dozen. These are my excuses. We'll get out 3. Somebody give me an excuse why they shouldn't jump in there. This is going to hurt. Oh, and that hurt the balloon. Well, what good am I to God dead? Seem like a good excuse to you, Paul? All right, we're going to stick that one in there. We got 2. No one would know. We're just standing before the king. We could probably tell the king, hey, just don't tell nobody we bowed. Nobody will know. And I'm sure the king was telling them, hey, Patrick, you bow down. I won't tell nobody. But you got to learn to submit yourself. You got to bow. Now, the excuses are in there. The compromise has been made. So now, every time we compromise, even a little, it has an effect. Y'all see the balloon? Little by little, this will snowball. We compromise on one thing, it will snowball. And eventually, we're no different than the world. Talk about us being a book. Everybody sees us. If Patrick compromises, and he goes out to the restaurant now that has alcohol and he drinks, Brother Denny sees him. Say, Brother Denny isn't saved. He's a Christian. It speaks volume. It's like, man, he's a Christian. He's no different. Everybody's watching. Our testimony should be where we live for the Lord. Look, he didn't last long. If they would have compromised, this would have been them. We'd have never heard of them. They'll tell them what would have happened to them. Now, I brought a pet with me, and I had to put this over to keep it from jumping out. This will get the people griping on the internet. Oh, he's going to harm an animal. I like my pets. This is one of my favorites. This is what we should be like. And I've titled this sermon. They always tell me to title the sermon. Come here. Be still. Calm down. I won't hurt you bad. This is Fluffy. This is my pet Brick. This is how we should be. Yeah, I know. A little crazy. But think about this. Yes, I'm stuck with Brick all day long. Yes, I try to make analogies with church and Brick. This brick has a purpose. This brick was made to hold up a building. Before they put 2x4 walls, every building was a load bearing. The brick was load bearing. Brick walls were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 layers thick, all tied in. Every 10 courses tied into the next. It had a purpose. We have a purpose. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had a purpose. They didn't know what the purpose in their life was. We don't know what the purpose in our life is most of the time. We don't know why we face these problems. This brick doesn't compromise. That brick will stay the same shape, same size. This is how we should be. We should be a brick. When it comes to godly things, yes, I know in life there's going to be compromises. I'm married. I understand this. There is compromises. But it should never come with religion. It should never come with God. We should stand and we should be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They said, we are not careful to answer you, O king. They know this king has the power to kill them. They know whenever they say this answer, when they give this answer, within an hour, we're dead. They know this. But they also know they serve God, the true living God. They know there's going to be people that's going to see them. Yes, the people are going to see them being escorted to the fire. Yes, the people is going to see them get thrown in. This is going to have an effect on the people. The people are going to see this and say they didn't bow down. It may convict more people not to bow down. The Christians there, the followers of God, the Hebrew children there, could see this and say, we shouldn't bow down. There's probably more of them than there was the people who had them captive. Their answer, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And He will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. We shouldn't have the faith where when things go bad, we turn to God and we pray, and He doesn't answer the prayer, and we still go through the trouble. And we get angry at God. They knew God well. If we take the time and we pray, we study our Bibles, we get to know God. We get to understand what God wants us to do. Even when we're faced with something like death, these boys knew something. And what they knew was simple. God can do anything He wants. He can deliver us. He can deliver us from your hand in a heartbeat. He can do whatever He wants. But you know what? If for some reason He doesn't, for whatever reason it is, we will worship God. We will not bow down because He is in control. He knows what's going on. And we will follow Him and we will trust Him. Boy, you imagine the prayer life they had to be able to do this. How many times y'all have seen people come into church. They'll become a member, they'll get offended, they'll leave. Something tragic will happen in their family life or personal life. They'll get offended, they'll give up on God, they'll leave. God's in control. We don't know why He puts us in some situations, but He could put us in a situation for the same reason He did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, so that people can see the power of God. And people are fixing to see the power of God in this event. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 1/7 time more than it was to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosens, their hats, and their other garments, and they were cast in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flames of the fire slew those men who took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Now here's a problem in life that people's facing. They know what's going to happen. They know they're going to die. I mean, y'all know that they believe God can deliver them, but do you really think they thought, God's going to deliver me out of this? They knew He could. So here they are, they're bound. They're probably expecting God to deliver them before the problem, before they get cast in. He's going to do something. They're getting bound up. Oh, any moment now, God's going to do something. They're getting their coats on, all this. I don't know why they're throwing them in with all this stuff on. But they're wrapping them up. They're tying them up. And they're probably thinking, any moment now, Lord, any moment. They're getting escorted up there to that furnace. They can feel the heat. So hot, the guys that throw them in die. At this point, they're thinking, we're dead. They had to have. They get thrown in. They fall down into the fire. The things that had to be going through their mind. We have problems in life. All the stuff that runs through our mind. We have financial problems. We're not thinking about God's going to deliver me from this. God's going to make this okay. We're going to see the glory of God through this situation. We got health problems. We're not thinking that. We're not thinking God's going to do something miraculous here. Most of us don't think that. I'm the worst at it. My wife has to remind me, it's going to be okay. God's going to pull us through. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And here I am worrying to death, it's not going to be okay. I need to have the faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Where if something financially happens and I lose everything I got, I should have the attitude, God's plan is for me to lose this. It's not mine anyway. It's His. We'll keep on going. God's got something better for me. God's got something planned out for me. It's out of my control. If the doctors say that I've got something wrong with me, I should sit there and I should think, God's in control. If He delivers me from it, glory to God. If He doesn't, He has a reason. We need to sit back and we need to think instead of all the negative. You remember the guy coming up here? I forgot who that was. Yeah, Bob. And he held up the piece of paper. So what is this? Everybody focused on the dot. This is how we are in life. When we have a problem and it looks like it's too much for us, we should seek God. We should fall down and we should pray. God, I don't know why this is going on. I know You're in control. I've got faith in You. I mean, even if this goes bad for me, and this ends totally bad, Lord, I trust You. I know I'm going to see Your power through this some way or another. And they got through into the fire. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and arose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? And they answered and said to the king, True, O king. Now this had to be a shock. He sees the counselors. What would you think? We just threw them in the fire. The king runs up. Did we throw 3? How many guys did we throw? I mean, they've mentioned their names several times. I'm so glad I can pronounce these names. Or this would be a passage I couldn't preach from. But he comes up and he says, Hey, we threw 3, right? I mean, 3, that's what it was. Jimmy, right? 3? Okay, 3. They had to think, okay, king's crazy. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. So many times when we go through these problems, so many times, you remember the cartoons, the little angel up on one shoulder, a little devil on the other one? Probably not right for me to sit up here and talk about this. But so many times you can hear the devil telling you. I mean, there's this little voice and he's like, You're not going to make it. Just sit, you're all by yourself, you're all alone, trying to convince you you're alone. You're alone through this problem. Nobody understands. You're all by yourself. God said He'd never leave us. He would never forsake us. This was proof of it. Here's 3 guys. They made a stand. They said, We're not going to bow down. We're going to worship God. If He delivers us, He delivers us. If He doesn't, let it be known we worship the true God. They made a stand. They didn't compromise. They didn't do it because they knew people were going to read about it centuries later. They made a stand. Nebuchadnezzar and everybody there that day seen the power of the true living God. They seen that their God would not leave them. Not only is He capable of delivering them out of the king's hand, they're walking around, later on you read, they don't smell like smoke, their hair's not singed, their clothes ain't burnt. The only thing that's burnt, that was burnt off, is the stuff that bound them, throwing them in. And that's it. Man, imagine seeing that. Imagine all the people. Because if I'm not mistaken, these furnaces, they were up where everybody could see them. This was a public-style execution. So this thing's really hot. They're thrown in. The king walks. They see 4 people. The king calls them out. But everybody sees them walking in the fire. They don't see 3. They see 4. God is with them. That reminds me of a passage in Luke. Luke chapter 12, verse 4. So many times we sit around and we worry what people's going to think. If I serve God, if I go out and I witness to somebody, or I try to serve the Lord in any way. Man, people's going to think I'm crazy. Y'all people already think I'm a nut. I got a pet brick. How much crazier are y'all really going to expect from me? I can't hear Taylor singing because of a little light. We worry. We sit around, and this hinders us from doing our job. Jesus says, "And I say unto you, friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do." Don't be afraid of man. Don't be afraid of the persecution that you're going to suffer for your religion. The worst thing that happened to us, the absolute worst thing in our minds that can happen, is they kill us. Don't mean to sound depressing. Whoop-dee. What happens when I die? I'm going to be in the presence of the Lord. I'm going to be in a better place. Well, they just gave me a ticket to paradise. Thank you. But I will forewarn you whom you shall fear. Fear him which after he hath killed hath the power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Fear God. Don't worry about what man's going to say. Don't worry about what people are going to think of you, how crazy they're going to think because you're like, hey, this is a brick. This was made from clay. Bottom grade material. This wouldn't be as hard as it is. It wouldn't be as strong as it is if this brick had not spent time in fire. All these problems in life, all they're doing, making us stronger, drawing us closer to the Lord. When we're having times of issues, that's when we should be on our knees. When they talk about the whole armor of God, it doesn't talk about anything guarding your shins because you should be down on your knees praying to God. That is what we should do. We should think, Lord, you're sending me through this. You've got a job that you want me to do. There's something I should learn. Brother Rick preached once about how he got thrown out of a church, wasn't it? They told him I remember the title of the message was The Empty Chair. The preacher was preaching to him, and he says, it's about time we empty that chair. He told Brother Rick to leave. And here Brother Rick was. He had this guy's back. He was doing everything right. So many times, the problem happens when we're doing everything right. He goes home. He tells his wife, I'm done, I'm through. Then he sat and he thought about it, and he said, no. He went to Bible college, got him a degree, wound up pastoring. First the next month, it's going to be 20 years that this has been a church. Why do y'all think that happened to him? I mean, why did he go through that? I know the reason. Because one Sunday morning, I come in here with my family after being out of church for so long, and he preaches on it. My wife is nudging me the whole time my side was sore, Paul, by the time it was over. He's saying the same thing as you. His reaction was different. I know. He didn't know why he's going through it. If he wouldn't have went through that, I'd have came in there and he'd have preached on something. I might have left. I might have left church and probably might not came back to a church. You'll never know why you face the problems you do. Have faith in God. Lean on God. Trust God. You may not know this side of glory why you're going through what you're going through. But it may be because somebody's out there watching you and they're seeing you go through it, and they can see the power of God through the testimony in your life and how you're dealing with this situation. I hope this, was a blessing to somebody. I didn't do the whole hour and 30-minute preaching. I failed in that homiletics course, but the time was irrelevant. I did get that. So, Brother Paul, you want to do an invitation? I'll make sure Fluffy don't bite you.